All right, welcome guys. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. We got 8 games to talk about. So if you guys are new to the channel, how this works is we will take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, and I'll go team by team, talk about the players I like, and get to questions at the end. So bear with me. Some of this stuff was for the early games. That Hawks, Hornets stuff was early games. We had Garland and Sexton both questionable. They are now both out. OG Anunoby out. Van Fleet out. Lowry we're still waiting on. Let's see. Scrolling up more. We had Murray. That was the early game. Kyrie Irving, another personal ruled out. Like, I'm going to advance in the $555 best ball team with no LeBron. LeBron is my first pick. He obviously got injured. I have Kyrie too. Just so frustrating. All these personal days off. That's going to kill me in the next round. Him not playing tomorrow, I probably have zero chance of advancing to the third round. So that really does suck for me. Let's see. Jeremy Grant out. Killian Hayes out. Dennis Smith Jr. questionable. Dennis Smith Jr. is out. I think that really solidifies the minutes for a guy like Corey Joseph, who I think is a decent value play. Again, Sexton, Garland both out. Giannis out too. So cannot wait to play Chris Middleton again and get another 6 of 27 shooting game from him. Really, really excited for that. Drew Holiday in as well. DiVincenzo, Brolo both in. Kind of expected that. Damian Dotson questionable. I mean, who's going to be available for this Cavs team, right? So right now we're waiting on the starting lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but that's definitely a team you're going to want to go to for value with the top 2 guards out. All right, looking at the Vegas odds, so we got the Bucks and the Magic. It's a 224.5 over under. The Bucks are 8.5 point favorites. Pelicans and Cavs are 224.5 over under. The Pelicans are 9-point favorites. Obviously, again, a little bit some blowout risk in both those games. Bulls and T-Wolves, this is probably my favorite game to stack. 232 over under. The Bulls are 4-point favorites. Pacers and Grizzlies, another one that I'm kind of surprised how high this total is, but 234.5 over under. The Grizz are 3.5 point favorites. Do I go back to John Morant and have him let me down one more time? I don't know. Spurs and Mavs at 220.5 over under. Mavs 6-point favorites, kind of an uglier one. Raptors and Knicks also pretty ugly, 215.5 over under. The Knicks 4-point favorites. Heat and Blazers, we're still waiting on Hero news. It actually is pretty big. If Hero's out, I think, Dragic and Kendrick Nunn, if he starts, could become interesting value plays. That is a late game, too. So they might be lower owned. And Pistons and Clippers at 214 over under. Clippers currently 13.5 point favorites in this one. Obviously, blowout risk there, but Paul George, great play with no Kawhi. And possibly guys like Mann and Reggie if there's no Rondo. All right, so what's going on, guys? Point Osman season. Yeah, if Osman starts, I think he's a really good play for sure. What player is DK going to tilt tonight? Probably a blowout. Probably a game that I'll go to in a game will blow out. All right, so let's start with New Orleans and Cleveland. On the New Orleans side, I think Zion Williamson's a pretty good spend up. I mean, no one on Cleveland can stick with him. Going to play mid-30s minutes. I played him at somewhat low ownership against Brooklyn. Blowout only goes for 33. Next night, in literally the worst possible matchup against Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid defense, goes for 70 fantasy points. No, but I do think Zion's a pretty solid spend up. Not a priority, but like the matchup a lot here. Ingram, I'm probably not going to get to. We still have Lonzo, Hart, NAW all out. Bledsoe at 6'1", kind of a secondary option for me. There's not a ton else I really like on the Pelicans side. I think, Kira Lewis is intriguing GPP value play off the bench. I don't know if we have to go there now with, the Cavs news. We have some of the news. Oh, so we got the Cavs starting lineup. Hold on, let's see. That is pretty big. What do we got here for the Cavs? Okay. Oh my God, is this ever disgusting? Whew. Oh. Wow, this could be the worst starting lineup I've ever seen. So Dellavedova is starting a point guard. I think he's probably the best value down the slate. Okoro, he could play 35 minutes. He could play 15 minutes. I probably wouldn't still play Isaac Okoro. We have Dean Wade starting at the 3. Love at the 4 and Hardenstein at the 5. Man, that is just that is disgusting. All right, but that's basically it for the Pelicans. So it's Zion for me, and that's it. All right, moving on to Cleveland. So, yeah, Allen, Sexton, Nance, Garland, all out. I think Matthew Dellavedova starting a point guard. It's played 21, 16 minutes, has been hovering around that range. With him starting, they have like no other guards, right? Dotson might be out too. I don't even know if Quinn Cook is available. He signed a second-day contract on 3/21. I don't see him on the active roster, so I don't know if Cook is even available to play. All right, Dotson's also questionable. I think Dellavedova's going to have to play big minutes. Now, a guy that I thought might start would be Cedi Osman. He's kind of been out of the rotation, but I feel like he's got to play more in this one. So you could use him as a GPP value play, but really the guy that stands out obviously is Dellavedova, right? I don't think you get cute here and fade him. I think he's a clear value. Now going over the rest of the plays, Dean Wade starting at the 3 doesn't make a ton of sense. He's 4.9, fine play. I'm not really looking to him. Kevin Love's at 6.5. He's moving to the 4. There's been a bunch of blowouts here, but I think in a close game, maybe he pushes for 25 to 30 minutes. So Kevin Love, I do have some interest in. And Hartenstein, we know, is a great point per minute guy. Now he's starting alongside Love. My only worry with Hartenstein is foul trouble. So it's he's gotten to a price where it's okay, if he gets in early foul trouble, he's probably going to kill you, right? We played him a lot when he was in the 3K range, and sure, the foul trouble was tilting, but he still could get there because he was so cheap. Now, if he picks up 2 fouls in 30 seconds like he's done the last 3 times I've played him, then it's going to hurt. So, Hartenstein, I think, is a really good tournament play, but still, a little risky because of the foul concerns. Off the bench, Taurean Prince is at 5-1. Sure, I think he's all right. Again, Okoro is starting. Just a low usage guy. I'm not going to get to Okoro. Again, I mentioned Osman. The minutes have not been there, but I'm guessing he has to play more in this game. It's a super risky value play, and I'm not going to get to a Lamar Stevens or Broderick Thomas. No, I'm not getting to anyone else. So, all right, let's move on to Milwaukee and Orlando. On the Milwaukee side, again, I'm super excited to go right back to Chris Middleton and get another, 15% shooting game from him. Last time played him, clear play, 6 of 27 shooting. Now, I do want to mention, he shot 6 of 27 and still put up 31 fancy points. Imagine if he says has an average shooting game, right? He probably goes for 50. So, with no Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think Middleton is a really good play. Also, like Drew, the issue with Drew is guard is a little bit more loaded today. We got some value. We got some, guys, some other spend ups. So, I would probably prioritize Middleton first just because the positional, you can play him at the small forward position, which is usually a weak position on DraftKings. But yeah, the top 2 guys look really good for Milwaukee. And then Bobby Portis, assuming he starts, I think is a really solid play. Now, if he doesn't start, I'm probably not getting to Bobby Portis because in games he doesn't start, usually he hovers around the 20-minute mark. In games he starts, he'll play 25 to 30. So Portis, if he starts, I think he's a good value or a good play in the mid-range. The rest of the Bucks I'm probably not going to get to, DiVincenzo, Brolo, Connaughton. Don't know if we have to go there. All right, moving on to Orlando. We got Chuma Okeke out, Mo Bamba in. Not a ton I love. I think Ross you can use as a GPP play. Again, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba will split the center minutes. If you want to take a shot on one of those guys, you can. They're just still kind of deep, even with some of these injuries. Gary Harris is starting. I don't know if I can stomach Gary Harris, right? He's super reliant on scoring. There's just not much here for Orlando. All right, guys. So that's 2 games up, 2 games down. Where are we at? Almost 300 viewers for a Sunday during the Masters. Wow. 26 likes, though. Can we reach 100 before the end of the show, guys? If you do enjoy this content, if you could leave a like button, that helps me out a lot. It really does. So, all right, let's move back to now Spurs and the Mavs. And the Spurs, there's not much here. I think DeRozan, Pirtle are secondary options for me. If you land one of those guys, not going to talk you off them. I'm not really prioritizing anyone, though. And the Mavs, kind of the same thing. I think Luka and Porzingis are decent plays. I don't know if either are priorities here. Luka, again, you can pay up for him at the small forward spot. Might prefer Middleton, though, for the discount. We also have Jimmy Butler at small forward in a great matchup. So I don't know if this is a stars and scrubs slate like this. There's a couple viable value guys, but I think there's a lot of good plays in the 8-9K range. So more secondary options here for everyone in this game. Toronto and New York. So Lowry, you guys said, is now probable. Okay, so Lowry being probable, I'm probably just going to stay away from the Raptors. It's a terrible matchup. Lowry in. We got Siakam in. Yes, Van Fleet is still out. Yes, OG's still out. But, I don't like this matchup. Lowry, if there's no minutes, would probably be the guy for me at 7.3. I still don't think you have to go there, though. So, yeah, Lowry, Siakam. I don't want to pay 7K for Boucher. I'll let others chase the Gary Trent game. He's not going for 70 fancy points again. Flynn's too pricey with Lowry back. Bembry I'm not going to get to. So this Toronto team I'm probably just staying away from. So moving on to the Knicks, honestly not much here either. Like, I think Julius Randle's an okay spend up to get different, but there's other guys I prefer. It's kind of just a fade for me in this game with Lowry not winning. Like, I think Lowry is probably the guy I look to if there's no limit, but either way, even if there is no limit, I still don't think he's a priority. Okay, so let's see. We have any more news here? All right, let's move on to Indiana and Memphis. So this is a game I think you could definitely stack too. There's some decent pricing on these guys. I'm a little bit surprised how high of a total this is, but hey, I don't fade Vegas, right? At 234.5 over under for Memphis and Indiana. So we'll start with Domantas Sabonis. I think is one of the better plays of the slate. Did not have a good shooting game last game. Still went for 47 fancy points. With no Miles Turner, he plays more at the 5. I think Sabonis is a really, really good play on the slate. LeVert at 7.4, kind of a secondary option. I think Brogdon's an interesting buy low. Minutes haven't been great on him, but I think they kind of just took it easy this first game back in only 28 minutes. I could see taking a shot on him. I probably don't go there for a cash game setting, but for GPPs, again, it's 6.6K price for Brogdon. I'm a little bit intrigued by him. Like, if we get back to 35 minutes from Brogdon, you could see a pretty big game from him. So it's Sabonis, I think, is the clear play. Brogdon, I kind of like his contrarian play. Other than that, there's not a ton else I like for the Pacers. Moving on to Memphis. So Jonas Valanciunas, I think, is a really good tournament play too. No Miles Turner. Like, Sabonis is not a good defender. You could definitely play JV and Sabonis together, a little stack. Whenever JV gets, close to 30 or 30 plus minutes, he will normally crush. That last game as New York went to overtime, he played 36 minutes, 31 in regulation. So I do like JV here. I do have some interest in Ja Morant. It pains me to say. I know he's been very up and down, but again, super high over under here. He's still got 50 fantasy point upside. It's just he's been very inconsistent. So I like Ja. I like JV for tournaments. Other than that, there's probably not much else here. Clark is in, so I'm not really on slow-mo. Dylan Brooks, I don't play him. Grayson Allen, I'm not going to go there. That's probably it. All right. Let's go. Let's move on to Chicago and Minnesota. So on the Chicago side, I think Vooch and Zach LaVine are both pretty good plays here. Nikola Vucevic at 9.1K. Like the matchup against Cat. A little bit worried about, foul trouble. But yeah, we should get mid-30s minutes for Vooch. So I do like him at the top in a good matchup. I like LaVine too. Don't expect 70 fancy points again from Zach LaVine, but we should get mid-30s minutes in an up-tempo game. I think he's a good play. So LaVine, Vooch, again, I like this game as part of a game stack. Not really looking to Thad or Sado. Value-wise, I could see taking a shot on like a Kobe White. Has played. They've been running more of 3-guard sets with him, Sado, and LaVine. 31, 27, and 29 minutes the last 3 games for Kobe White. So, again, up-tempo game. I could see getting to him as kind of a contrarian value play. Moving on to Minnesota. So, Minnesota, I like Cat at the top at 10.8. Even at this price, because of just the fact that he's playing massive minutes, has, a guy that is playing really well. And, again, like the matchup. So, Karl-Anthony Towns, I like at the top. Edwards is a fine GPP play. Probably don't go there for cash games. I'm intrigued by D'Angelo Russell. If there's no minutes limit for him, I actually think he's a really good play. If he's going to continue to be limited to like 24 minutes, then I'll probably look elsewhere. He played 29 last game because of overtime. So just keep an eye on this news, right? If there's no limit for D'Lo, I actually do kind of like him in the mid-range. And then McDaniels at 4.6. Playing huge minutes. Not a amazing point per minute guy, but he's probably going to get mid-30s minutes in an up-tempo game. He can stuff the stat sheet. Do have a little bit of interest there in McDaniels. All right, so where are we at? We got 2 games left. Let's refresh Fantasy Labs one more time. 15 minutes until I'm going to get out of here. So, all right, still no more news. Detroit and the Clippers. What we know is Jeremy Grant is out. Killian Hayes is out. Dennis Smith Jr. is also questionable. Like, this is actually pretty significant. If Dennis Smith Jr. is out, Corey Joseph's probably going to have to play all the minutes he can handle. He's played 32 and 30 last couple of games. he's been a solid point per minute guy. There's no Pat Beverly, so don't really have to worry about that on the defensive end. So I do kind of like Corey Joseph here for value. I think he's a pretty solid play. And if Dennis Smith Jr. is out, Saben Lee could be intriguing at 3-3. He's kind of been out of this rotation, but he's actually a decent point per minute guy. And like, no Killian Hayes, possibly no DSJ. We could see 20-plus minutes from Saben Lee at 3-3. He intrigues me as an interesting value play. Let's see, what else do we got here? Mason Plumlee at 5-5. No Jeremy Grant. The last game against Portland was kind of a blowout. He only played 18 minutes. I could see taking a shot on him to get different here. We've seen in close games him play 25 to 30 minutes, and when Jeremy Grant's out of this offense, like Mason Plumlee does get a pretty significant boost. So I actually am intrigued here by Plumlee. I think he goes overlooked in the slate, but don't completely rule him out. Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey are fine plays with no Jeremy Grant if you land in either of them. Neither are priorities, but they're both all right. And that's probably it. So yeah, Corey Joseph, I like a good amount for value. I think Mason Plumlee is an intriguing play that goes overlooked in the slate. And then Saben Lee, I think, is also viable if there's no Dennis Smith Jr. I'm moving on to the Clippers. So obviously there's some blowout risk here. But Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard, I think is one of the best matchups of the slate. The only concern is blowout. So if you're super, super worried about that, then you can look elsewhere. If this game stays close, I think Paul George will absolutely crush the salary. So really like Paul George. And then, honestly, really big news is Rajon Rondo. Like, it's weird to say, but if Rondo's out, that changes a ton. If he's out, Reggie Jackson and Terrence Mann become two of the best plays on the slate. Now, we might not get that news for a while. It's a late game, so tricky here. If Rondo's out, Reggie Jackson should play over 30 minutes. Again, gets a big, big boost. Revenge game narrative. I do like Reggie. And then Mann off the bench. He played 36 minutes that last game. I think we get pretty similar minutes if there's no Rondo. So Mann and Reggie Jackson, I think, are both really good plays if there's no Rondo. Zubac been losing some minutes. I'm probably not going to go there. Morris and Batum are both fine value plays. Marcus Morris last game played 26. I expect close to the 30-minute mark. Batum off the bench probably plays 25 to 30. And Kennard started the last game. If he starts again, I think we could look to him, revenge game narrative. The issue with Luke Kennard is he's a little bit more reliant in the scoring. But hey, if he starts, I think we get around 25 to 30 minutes. I think he's someone we could look to for value. Now, if Rajon Rondo is in, then I'm not as high on Reggie and Mann. I'm not saying they're out of play, but they do become riskier. And then Rondo himself, if there's no minutes limit, maybe gets 15 to 20 minutes. He's at min price. You could take a dart in Rondo if he does play. Our last game, Miami and Portland. Honestly, another big piece of news is Tyler Hero. He's currently questionable. If he misses, we might see Kendrick Nunn. He's been out of the rotation. Nunn could start. If Nunn starts, I think we get 25 minutes at least from him. And I think he would be a pretty good value play that goes overlooked. Also, Goran Dragic at 4-7 been hovering in the mid-20s minutes. Again, if there's no Hero, he might have to play more. So Nunn and Dragic, they're intriguing value plays if there's no Hero that might go overlooked in the slate. Ariza, I'm fine with. Should get mid-20s minutes. Don't love it. And then the top two guys, Jimmy and Bam. Great matchup here. Jimmy might go a little bit overlooked, but he's been super, super consistent. And then Bam Adebayo, 2 at 8.3K. Like the spot here for both them. So the top two guys from Miami I like, and then possibly guys like Dragic, Nunn if there's no Hero. All right, finally, Portland. There's not much here for me in Portland. Cantor had the big game last game at low ownership, but Nurkic is now back. They're going to split the center minutes. Covington and Powell don't have to go there. And the top two guards with Lillard and CJ, both contrarian options. If you land on one of them for like a stack, you can go there, but not really priorities. All right, so that is it for my breakdown, guys. All right. Let's get to some questions here. Where are we at? We are over almost 350 viewers for Sunday, guys. 76 likes. Thank you for all the support. Again, hit that like button if you do enjoy. Yeah, I mean, there's blowout risk basically every game, it seems like. Kennard I think Kennard starts. I think Kennard will start. Paul George or Levine? It's a tough question. Like, I like both a lot. If I knew the Clippers game would stay close, I might give a slight edge to Paul George, but I think both are really, really good plays. Yeah, so half-court games. Yeah, you don't have to play Towns. Cash game center. I think Towns and Vooch at the top both look pretty good. Mid-range. Let's see. I think Bobby Portis, if he starts, you can go there. Again, I do have some mention Isaiah Hartenstein too now that he's starting. My only concern is foul trouble. So that's probably where I'm looking. Value, I don't know if there's really any value centers I get to. Oh, also Plumlee. Like, don't forget about Mason Plumlee. In a close game, we could see 25 to 30 minutes. I know they put 18 the last game, but I think he's an interesting contrarian center play. Yeah, I like D'Lo if there's no minutes limit for him. Viable value plays at min price. I don't think so. I don't think there's anyone that I'm really looking to at the flat min. Cantor season times 2. Not with Nurkic back. Nah, I'm not going there. Dragic season. Yeah, I think Dragic, especially if Hero gets rolled out, is a pretty good play. Paul George, Milton, Sabonis. I like that. Yeah, Mo Bamba, Kobe White. Upside-wise, it might be Bamba. But he's been dealing with some injuries. Minutes are a little bit up and down in him. But yeah, upside-wise, I think it actually is Bamba. Slow-mo or Edwards? Edwards. I'm not really looking to slow-mo on the slate. Sabonis or Porzingis? Sabonis. Sadiq Bey projection. I think we get about 30 minutes from him. Maybe 25 fancy points around there. Favorite value, Dellavedova. Torn between Levine or not. Yeah, I mean, I like Levine. I don't think he's a must-play, but I think he's, up-tempo game. Good matchup. I like Levine. Do you think Paul George will sit? No. I think Paul George plays. He sat the last game. Dellavedova, Paul George, Milton, Marshall, Hartenstein. Yeah, so I'm not really looking to Marshall for value. I'm guessing that Dennis Smith Jr., he's questionable, so keep an eye on that one. Yeah, I think that's always like a fine way to go about the slate is to leave some room for the late games because you never know, right? I always say expect the unexpected the last few weeks of the NBA, so we might get some slate breaking news in some of the late games. I do think you're going to want at least one Cleveland guy, though, with this news, so definitely get some Cleveland exposure, but you could leave some room for the later games. Yeah, Porzingis or Vooch? Give me Vooch. Forward plays for cash? Let's see. Forward for a cash game setting. I mean, I think Luka at the top you can go to. I think you can still go to Zion and Jimmy at the top too. Sabonis I really like. Let's see. Mid-range forwards. I think Bobby Portis, if he starts, is a good play. Value forwards. Let's see. You could go to Prince off the bench. He might have to play 25 to 30 tonight. I don't know if I guess Dean Wade's in play, but I don't really like it. I think McDaniels is a solid value because the minutes. Yeah, a guy like Batum off the bench should play, 25 to 30. He played, 27 the last game. I think he's someone you could at least look to. And then Kennard, assuming Kennard starts, I think he's a viable value play. So there's eight or nine guys I just listed. Sabonis or Paul George. It depends what you think happens with Detroit. If you think Detroit can keep it close, the upside might be a little bit higher on Paul George. But I actually think Sabonis is safer because I'm more confident that game stays close. Yeah, I don't think you have to play Drew. I think getting to at least one. I don't think I'm going to fade all of Milwaukee, right? So with Giannis out, I'm probably going to try to get to at least one of Middleton, Drew, and Bobby Portis. Mid-range center for GPP. I think both Carter Jr. and Plumlee are good tournament plays, right? Plumlee, again, the minutes haven't been great in him. He's been in some foul trouble. There's been some blowouts, but he could play 25 to 30 tonight. And then Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba is playing, but I could see a big game from him. McDaniels or Marcus Morris? That's a good question. Give me McDaniels somewhere, I think, of the minutes. But yeah, JV, I think JV is a really good play. I honestly think you could go there in cash games because of the price. Now that I think about it more, I think you could go to Jonas Valanciunas. Again, great matchup. Sabonis is not a good defender. He played 31 minutes the last game. The only concern with him is the minutes, but I think we could see a really big game from JV. So I think I do like Jonas Valanciunas a lot. Utility for 5,200. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'd probably go to Hartenstein. Hartenstein, just hope he stays out of foul trouble. That is a risk. Obviously, we got a guy like Reggie Jackson. There's no Rondo. I think becomes a really good play. Not looking to Isaiah Thomas. No, I don't even think he played the last game. Is Matsuyama choking? I saw he was out. He had a big lead, so I kind of just I wasn't really watching the Masters. What's going on with it? Is he actually choking? Oh, Xander is, wow. Yeah, Xander's getting up there. It's close. Drew, Middleton, Okoro, Sabonis, Plumlee. Yeah, so I'm not really looking to Okoro. Everything else looks good. Yeah, the best value at forward. I think you got McDaniels. I think you got Kennard that look all right. The Pelicans starters are out. Okay, let's see. Yeah, my only concern with Plumlee is minutes, right? Minutes haven't been amazing on him. Yeah, so Najee Marshall starting. I don't love it. I guess he's not out of play, but like I'm probably not going to go there. Kira Lewis, punt to get different, yeah, but no love for slow-mo with Clarkin. I think Kennard at 3-7. Najee's not out of play, but I'm probably not going to go there. I like the first one better there. Levine, DeRozan. Hardenstein, Reggie Jackson, or Dylan Brooks for utility. I mean, it depends. Are you willing to... if you're willing to take some foul trouble, I think Hardenstein has a good amount of upside. I do really like Reggie, too, if there's no Rondo, but we don't know if Rondo's going to be a play or not. So, tough one. I would say definitely either Hardenstein or Reggie there. Plumlee, Wendell, or Hardenstein. I mean, it's tough, right? Because Hardenstein's got the foul trouble issues. If I knew Hardenstein... Let's just say this. If I knew Hardenstein stayed out of foul trouble tonight and played 30 minutes, I would lock in Hardenstein. I would lock him in. But there's probably better than 50% chance he gets in foul trouble. And if he does, you could be in trouble. I'm not really looking at Bledsoe. Zubac, now he's been losing minutes. Xander went in the water. Okay. Ariza or Chetty? Ooh. Safety-wise, for sure, Ariza. But I think this is a game Chetty has to play more. The issue is he's really not been getting a ton of run recently, which is worrisome. I think Kennard starts. Yeah, Man or Kojo. So right now I think the safer play is Kojo. But Man becomes really solid play if there's no Rondo. I like him and Reggie a lot. Dellavedova, Levine, Middleton, McDaniels, Sabonis, Joseph, Kennard, and Paul George. I think it's a good lineup. Yeah, so D'Lo, again, keep an eye on the minutes limit. If there's no minutes limit for D'Lo, I think he's a good tournament play. Utility for 4.8. Let's see, what do we got here? 4.8. I think Dragic, if there's no hero, I think Dragic a pretty solid play. And Dragic could start too with no Oladipo. So yeah. Yeah, so Dragic or Kojo, it depends on the hero news right now. Slow-mo, I'm probably not going to get to him with Clarkin. Joseph, Levine, Milton, Sabonis, JV, Dellavedova, Kennard. Yeah, I think it's a good build. I like that as well. Again, Marshall. You can do. Yeah, I think Dellavedova is the best value. Bembry's still a play. I'm not really looking to him with Lowry in. We got Lowry in. We got Siakam in. Tough matchup. I think he loses minutes. Yeah, favorite game to target. There's a few sides I like, right? I like the Cleveland side, obviously, in this game because they're shorthanded. I like the Milwaukee side in this game. I think Indiana-Memphis is a good game to stack. I think Chicago-Minnesota are good games to stack. And even Detroit and the Clippers if the Pistons can keep it close. So those are probably my 3 favorite games to target. I haven't really built my lineup yet, to be honest. I was waiting for some news. Point Osman confirmed. Yeah, I mean, he might get some more minutes in this. I think he's an interesting tournament play for sure. Levine to Rosen. Yeah, I think I lean the first one there. Guard for 6,300. All right, winding down here. We got about a minute left, guys. 6,300 for guard. There's not much here. I guess I'm okay with going to Bledsoe. He's starting the point guard. He probably gets around 30 minutes in a close game. I'm not in love with that play, but if I had to pick someone in that range, it would be him. Yeah, I would go Kennard over Najee for me. It's also a revenge game for Luke Kennard too. Drew, Dellavedova, Paul George, Levine, Middleton, Osman, Portis, Hardenstein. All right. Again, my issue with Osman is I'm still not convinced about his minutes. I do think he has to play more, but who knows, right? Kennard or Kojo? I think Kojo. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't built my lineup, but I think if Portis starts, I'll probably lean. Do we have the starting lineup news yet? If Portis starts, again, I think I think into at least one Milwaukee guy is probably where I'm looking to. There obviously is some blowout risk. So Dotson's out too for the Cavs. Like, they're thin. They're thin. Like, Prince is going to come off the bench. I don't know if Quinn Cook's even active or available. Osman, I think he has to play, but I don't know. Any bench guys on the Cavs are pretty risky for sure. Yeah, I don't know about Chetty, right? The minutes have not been great for him. I think he's an interesting contrarian GPP play. Milwaukee Stars, I think Middleton because of the positional eligibility. He's small forward's weak, so I think Middleton, then Portis, then Drew. Again, I don't know my lineup yet. But, all right, guys, that's going to do it. I got to update some stuff for Patreon, so I appreciate everyone coming to check out the stream on Sunday. Good luck to you guys, and I'll be